Wrestling fans of Dan Marotti, Tony Atlas, the wrestling wars on Wednesday night are heating up, Tony.
That's right. You know, October is not only it's a time for creeper. It also going to be some of the greatest wrestling entertainment the world ever see. Going to brought right here by my main man, Dan Morello.
A brand new Wrestling Insiders is seconds away.
Are you part of a nonprofit organization, a youth group looking to raise cash for your cause? Stay tuned at the end of this video to learn how you can bring the action and excitement of the Millennium Wrestling Federation to your town live, featuring the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Cheer! Why, hello! I would ask what was on your mind, but I already know. You want to know what has got my beard looking oh so majestic. And I'll tell you, it's sexy as hell beard care. Coconut oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil, both sweet and bitter, shea butter, it's all natural. Yes, JTG has actually come out with a high quality product. So support your boy by going to sahbeardcare.com and take one step closer to becoming sexy as hell. Cheer. Ooh, cheer. You know?
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans, it is Tuesday. I'm Dan Marotti, and he is...
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer, Tony Atlas.
Well, Tony, we're still several ways a week from Halloween.
We are?
We are.
Well, I need to take this mask off.
Are
then.
you a big Halloween fan?
No.
No.
Halloween is something I never celebrate. I like it, but I think it's for kids.
You think well, you're a kid at heart.
Well, yeah, mentally, I'm not that intelligent, but I just think it's for kids. I can't go trick-or-treating.
All right.
I can't dress up in costume.
All right.
So what I'm going to do on
Well, you're a
Halloween?
character in and of itself. You don't need to dress up.
Oh, okay.
You're Tony.
Okay.
Tony, before we get into the main context of the program, every time we have a new video that premieres online, the fans want to know what is going on with the lovely lady you call Mrs. Atlas, Monica. How is she?
Well, my wife, as y'all well know, June the 2nd, 2019, my wife had a severe stroke that nearly took her life, and she's been hospitalized now for 3 months, going on 4. But she's a strong believer in God, and it's hard. It's hard, harder on me than it is on her to see my wife in that type of condition. And unfortunately for us, Maine is the second worst state in America for health care. You know, God forbid that anything would happen to anybody out there, but you know, when you get a loved one that come down with a serious injury, and health care become a very, very important item to have, because if you don't have it, then you don't get you get treatment, but you don't get the best of treatment. You know, there's a limitation to what they will and what they pay for, due to the fact that my wife suffered that stroke. We have lost our home.
What do you mean you lost your home?
Well, what they take and do, Medicaid and Medicare, they only pay for a certain
80%, I think.
Yeah, 80%. Yeah. And then the rest you have to pay. And just like a hotel, a room, the room my wife is $300 and some a day. Mm-hmm. So over a period of time, that runs out. Somehow you got to pay them that money. So what they would do, they would put a lien on your home.
They put a lien on your house?
They will if you're not able to pay them. And then if you sell the home, then they will take
Has that
money.
happened?
Not yet, because most of the bill's going to roll in when the worst part of this is when she be released. That's when you get hit with everything. Right now, I hadn't got any bills or anything from them, but I believe that a lot of bills going to come in where for instance, will probably have to sell my house in order to pay all these heavy bills.
Oh, there's got to be a better way
right,
than that.
because if you stop and look at it, even if it's 20%, if it's $100,000 worth of bills that don't racked up right there, you got to come up with 20 grand.
Right. I didn't know, Tony. You and I talk an awful lot, but I didn't know that was such a major issue at this point.
When you talk about a hotel room, when you talk about a room at $350 a day, a day, you multiply that by 365.
Wow.
That's what it would be if you're there for a year.
Right.
And she's been there for 90 days.
More.
Yeah, more. So you take
it's 4 months.
Right. So you take that 350 and you multiply it by
120 days at this point.
By 120 days, yeah. And then you can see what that price is.
Well,
and that's just for the room. That's not including the other stuff.
The medical services.
That's not including that.
She's not staying at the Marriott. She's in a medical institution.
That's just for the room now. That's just the room. That doesn't include the medication, the nurse's aid, the physical therapy, and all the other stuff that come in. You pay 20% not of the full bill, 20% of each bill.
And for the fans watching at home that may not be all familiar with your situation, it's not like you're sitting on a gold mine up there. You still work a full-time job beyond your wrestling commitments.
Yeah.
And now you've lost your wife's income because of the stroke.
And I still owe over $60,000 on the home that I'm living in.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not paid off yet.
We purchased that home 10 years ago. In 2009, we repurchased our home, thanks to Vince McMahon. He gave me enough money to get the down payment in order to get us into a home. We was living in an apartment for a number of years, but then once I made good money again, then I was able to purchase me and my wife a home that we happily lived in for the past 10 years.
Well, for the fans watching, again, as we note all the time, over on eBay, Tony's available to draw pictures of any kind, and it helps you just pay the bills, you know?
Yeah.
You have a mortgage like everybody else, cable, insurance and whatnot, a car to maintain.
Yeah.
You're not living the good life up there in Auburn, Maine right now. It's been a difficult time.
But as long as I stay healthy and keep my faith in God, I feel that I'm living a pretty humble life.
And again, and also Tony's available for bookings. He'll still get in the ring. He'll do autographs. He'll do conventions. He'll eat chicken. Go over to BostonWrestling.com.
You got a chicken eating contest. I'll be there.
Send us
watermelon eating contest. I'll be there.
Send us an
hot
email,
dog.
and we'll hook you up with Tony for a great live event experience you won't soon.
You can reach me right here with Dan Morella at BostonWrestling.com.
You know, Tony, maybe someday you'll get my last name right. I've only known you since 1993.
How I say it?
Marathi.
That's how you're supposed to say it?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying?
Morello.
What's the difference?
Well, a few letters, but who's counting, right?
It's German.
All right, Tony, we want to get into the main Oh, look at this. What do you hustle? Trying to hustle a still? Who's that? I don't have my glasses on.
That's me and Dwayne Johnson, father.
Oh, The Rock. Okay,
The Rock.
That's a nice picture. I like that one. And we're going to make those available on eBay, too. We have some 11x17 posters, and now Tony's even going to release some 8x10s of it. So we want to keep the Hall of Famer working. I don't think anyone, no matter whether they're a wrestler, whether they're a janitor at an elementary school, should have to worry about losing their home because their spouse had a stroke. That's my own personal opinion on
Well,
that.
I'm not the only. I'm very sure that a lot of people have went through the same. And see, when you're a senior citizen like myself, you are what they call a set income.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, right. So
and your set income was rocked.
Right. And so when something tragic happens, then you don't have that extra income to take care of that because you got heating bill, you got electric bill, you got water bill and you know all these other bills along with your mortgage, and then I still got grandkids that depend on me to help them out, get through school and everything.
You send the grandkids a little payday?
Yeah,
Do
you
you?
have to. Yeah, yeah.
You're a good granddad.
If my grandson is going to play football and he need money to go on a field trip and his mom don't have it, Grandpa got to come through.
You're a good man. I hope you know how much it's been bothering me.
Yeah, but she's strong, and we're going to keep. I'm going to look at it from a positive point of view, and hopefully, the best Christmas present that I could possibly have is for my wife to be home Christmas Day.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It'd be wonderful.
And able to enjoy the day where she lost her. You said she was looking forward to traveling this summer, and she lost it.
Yeah, and I have seen things. If any of y'all out there got any relatives that is in a nursery home or any type of hospital, go by and check on them. Some of the things that I have seen, that a person have to use the bathroom, that is unable to walk, they will lay in bed for hours waiting for someone to come to them. At the place that my wife is at, they have 2 CNA, and they're the ones that do all the work, not the nurses, not the doctors, but the CNA, and they got approximately 40 to 45 people to take care of, and there's only 2 of them.
Wow.
So if they with one person and another person need help, that person could wait anywhere between an hour to 2 hours before they receive any type of help.
That's awful.
You are more unsafe at a nursery home than you are at anywhere else. You would think being in a hospital that you'll be, more cared for, but the caring, and they not taking nothing from the CNA, they work their butt off, but the problem is only 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And they don't get paid that much. I mean, they get paid very, very, not as much as people think they get paid. It's a minimum wage job.
Really? Minimum wage?
Minimum wage job. CNA is a minimum wage job, which I didn't know until I got into the system myself. The people that make the money, the people that do no work. The nurse, the doctor come in about once every 3 weeks and ask you a couple of questions, and then you don't see them no more for about 3 weeks. So the doctor's the one that make all the money is doing the less work. The nurse, she just run the station. And when you want something, she don't move. She just, I get somebody there. I have walked down the hallway and I smell urine, I smell feces.
Bowels.
Foul.
Yeah.
And I look in the room and I would see some elderly lady laying in her own feces for hours. I have seen that. Waiting for somebody to come and clean her.
Sounds like a nightmare, Tony.
It is.
It's a good thing you're there with Monica every day.
Our healthcare system is horrible, horrible, horrible. So I go to the hospital every day from 12 o'clock until 8 to make sure that my wife is taken care of. Otherwise, it's very hard for a person to recover from a serious injury because they don't have that moral support. People that have strokes and serious injury, they need moral support constantly. My wife, her man comes and goes. 1 minute she's talking very sensible to me. The next minute she's telling me she walked to New York.
Really?
So it goes to come. But when I'm there on a regular basis, like if I go out of town for like 2 days and come back, my wife is hysterical.
She's a what?
Hysterical. She's out of her head. If I stay away from, but as long as I'm there on a regular basis,
she stays in it a little more.
Yeah, I keep her grounded. But when you leave people isolated like that, locked up in a room where they can't move, and they know nobody, elderly person in their late 70s, that person would temporarily go insane. I have seen it.
Well, Tony, again, I'm
it's
sorry.
It's a horrible thing for our seniors. So if you got a grandma or grandpa, make it your duty to go and visit them on a regular basis. There's a lady that in the room next to my wife's room, and once in a while I just drop by and say hi to the poor lady. She got a large family. I've seen her family one time in 3 months. Most people they go visit is in, how you doing, bye, see you later. They don't spend quality time with them. They're in and out of there within 30 minutes. And they only come maybe once a week. Very rarely you would see anybody there. And then they got some that nobody come to see them at all. And they got relatives. The sad thing about being a grandparent, you raise your kids, you help raise your grandkids. Then when you get down flat on your back, neither the kids or the grandkids is there for you.
I don't know if that's always true.
I've seen it.
I'm sure you have seen it, but that's not the way in all cases.
Well, I've been to 3 different hospitals. I ain't seen anything different. Until I see something different, I will agree with you.
All right.
I'm in it. I didn't know none of this. Nothing that I'm saying I knew until 3 months ago. I thought we had the best run health care in the world. I know that they was against Obamacare. They're against any type of health care reform. They say it's a waste of money, a waste of time. But then when you end up in that situation yourself, you will get a whole new perspective about health care in America. Maine is the second worst. Look it up. I did. The second worst in the state. So they got, Maryland is the best.
Maryland's really?
Maryland is
the
number
best.
one for health care.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Maryland is number one. Yeah, Maryland is number one. So if you're going to get sick,
go to Maryland. Go down to Baltimore and enjoy some nice seafood and then go to the hospital and have a stroke.
I understand that Nick Romney, Nick Romney.
Oh, Mick Romney.
When he was governor,
yeah.
I hear he put forward a good health care plan here for people here in Massachusetts.
It was innovative. It was long before Obamacare, but there was a mandate that you had to have some kind of insurance. Yeah. So Massachusetts was kind of the forerunner to it. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
And it was a Republican governor, too. Who would have thought it?
Yeah.
But, Tony, but I don't want to take away from the wrestling we're going to talk about. Again, we're trying to keep the legend working. It isn't a great time for him right now. He really doesn't even want to be away from home, from Maine, right now to be away from his wife, but you got to do what you got to do to live at the same time. He's available for bookings. He'll draw anything for you, other than he doesn't like to draw demons and things like that. He'll draw for you.
No devil stuff. No horns. No snakes.
No whores.
Horns.
Oh, horns. Okay. Well,
horns.
He will draw whores, apparently.
Horns. There's nothing. No devil stuff. Satanism. All that.
He'll do celebrity phone calls. He'll sing and dance. He'll do just about anything. Yeah. We just want to see the Atlases doing good. Right now, we're going to take a brief time out. When we come back, we're going to talk some wrestling. Stand by.
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
We're friends, Andre, please.
Maybe you'll believe this, Hogan.
You will never, ever see it again.
Austin face to face with McMahon.
Nobody tells Stone Cold Steve Austin what to do or when to do it.
And that's the bottom line.
Neither of these superstars is leaving this match without a few scars.
The story will end with me becoming the Universal Champion.
I don't think I've ever seen 2 more evenly matched competitors in my life.
WWE's Greatest Rivalries, available online or wherever books are sold. Trenton at WWE Live. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman will face the OC's Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson in Raw Tag Team title action.
It's that same old recipe. It's a magic killer, a 1, 2, 3, and a just 2 sweet.
We'll take on anyone that wants to step up and challenge us for these tag titles.
Don't miss when WWE Live comes to Trenton, Saturday, October 19th. Tickets and WWE Superstar Experience packages are available this Friday.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Insiders. We had a little emotional talk with Tony. We like to keep it real here on the program. Tony has been a longtime friend of ours. On October 23rd, it'll have been 26 years since I met you for the first time at Tony Rumble's debut event. Can you believe that?
I must have been 5 years old then.
I was pretty close to 5 years old. I was only 13, yeah.
Well, you're much older than me.
I'm much older. Well, I look it. And I move much older than you, too.
You look good for your age.
Thank you.
You know, I used to watch you when I was a kid. You know, you were.
Did you really?
Yeah, when I was a little kid.
When Cheeky Baby and I used to do the shoots, you used to watch him as a kid?
Yeah.
I tell you, Tony, there are sometimes physically or emotionally, it's tough to get up to try and do these episodes. You have a lot going on. Within the past week or so, I was hospitalized again with my CRPS attacks. I'm still trying to be able to walk normal, and I had a giant arthritis breakout. But we try and put forth the best effort we can for the folks watching at home, because they really do enjoy spending their Tuesdays and other days with us.
Because the fans are number one, and they get, and one thing that I did learn from George Scott, Klondike Bill, Abe Jacob, Johnny Weaver, guys from the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, is that we all got problems.
Yeah.
But you don't take your problems to work. Because when the fans tune in to see a Boston wrestler, or when they go to a wrestling show, they got their own problems. They come and watch these programs and go to these events to leave their problems at home. And so for us being performers, we had to learn to leave our problems at home also, because the fan didn't come there to be brought down by problems going on in Tony Atlas' life, but they got problems of their own. I don't care who you are. You could be even a millionaire. Even millionaires have problems.
We were an escape from reality.
Right. Just for a few minutes to laugh and joke, and that was so good about the 70s when they had, I think, race, not to get too far into, I think race relationship.
Here we go.
Was brother then, because we was able to laugh at it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you saw Archie Bunker, you didn't get mad at him. He was funny. When you saw George Jefferson, Red Fox Sanford's son.
Did you know George Jefferson was actually in this very studio once?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Not to take away from what you were saying, but go ahead. No.
But I mean, we was getting to the place where things, we didn't take ourselves so seriously, and certain things was funny. We laughed at it. Now what was considered a joke then,
not so funny now.
It's not funny no more. It's more of everybody's just getting very, very thin-skinned, and even comedians now get themselves in trouble from saying certain things that is really just just a joke.
I can't wait to see that new Joker movie. Ever since you brought that up, have you seen the trailer for that on TV?
No,
it looks very good.
Yeah, but on TV they warning people that there could be a problem.
The Joker movie?
Mm-hmm.
Why could that be a problem?
Because there was a mass shooting at the last one. Yeah. I was looking
the last Joker movie? I don't think there ever's been one.
Yeah, where Batman was Batman movie.
Oh, well, Batman, I mean, I don't think you can blame that on Batman.
I'm repeating what was on the
all
news.
Right, well, you're a Hall of Famer still.
And they show all the policemen around. They interview some cops. People out there know what I'm talking about.
They do, I'm sure.
Yeah, they know what I'm talking about, because, it's been on for the last couple of days on the news about they're going to have extra security for this Joker movie. Because it was at a Batman movie where they had a mass shooting at that theater. What was that? Whatever.
But I mean, there's been so many mass shootings. I mean, how can you blame that on them? The type of movie.
Well, you can.
You can.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
You think maybe they didn't like it and they decided to come back and get revenge?
I worked 5 years of my life with mentally challenged adults, and I have never met a child with Down syndrome that were violent. When we have a mass shooting in this country, the sad thing, the reason nothing gets solved, we always blame the wrong people. We say, right off the bat, we don't even know the guy's name. We say, we need to work with the mentally ill. All you families out there that got kids with Down syndrome or got a mentally developed child, y'all know that I'm telling the truth. They are no harm to nobody but themselves. My job was to keep others from taking advantage of it. My job was keeping them from doing something to hurt themselves. Like I had this one student, and he would see a store that he likes. Your car could be running. He would open that door and step out. He don't know the danger of a car. He don't know.
Well, it's funny. I'll tell you a story, Tony. A friend of the program's, Marguerite Familari, she was getting ready for one of her children's wedding this week, and she told me that she has a child that he can't communicate. He's so challenged. But he had this love and affliction of Diet Coke cans and Diet Coke.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then this is going back many moons now. He snapped and threw her down 14 stairs and broke 2 of her ankles because he couldn't get the Diet Coke.
Yeah.
So, and she talked about how he was. Let me finish.
Yeah.
She talked about how he was treated in the aftermath. They had to call security on her at the hospital when she saw what they were doing to him. He didn't know, in his own mind, he couldn't control what he's doing. There's a difference between that type of challenge and mentally ill and those that they're talking about that can consciously make a decision to do violent.
But
the Down syndrome type.
You see, this is what.
What do you got?
This is where we make our mistakes.
What's the mistake, baby?
We label them as a mentally ill problem. Well, first of all.
But there's many different levels and layers to it.
No.
Yes.
No. See, this is the thing that we keep leaving out.
Let's hear it. Quickly.
Just downright mean and evil.
There's plenty of that. That's a mental illness.
That's not a mental illness.
You don't think evil's a mental illness?
No, there's a lot of mean people in this world. It's evil.
Well, there's a difference between mean and evil.
They're evil. They're evil. You can't see to label them every killing, to blame it on mentally ill people. Every killing get blamed on the innocent. Every killing. Right off the bat, before we even know the guy's name, they're hollering about he's mentally unstable. We're talking about the mental illness. And then people that are mostly mentally ill, they're not out committing these crimes. These people are just downright mean and evil. I got a little brother that is downright mean.
You have an evil brother?
He was at one time. He have changed a lot over the years, but he still got that. You know, he still got that feeling. Some guy was giving him trouble. He lived in Rhode Island now. So he called me. His wife called me on the phone and told me to talk to him. That he going to get his gun and go kill a guy. I mean, we got people like that. We got people you could pass in your car, and they would shoot you a bird. I mean, there's evil in the world, and we got this bad habit of ignoring evilness. It's evil. They just mean and evil. They mentally unstable. Some of these people are genius. Look at the guy that did the mass shooting there in Vegas. He had no mental problem. The guy was rich.
That was a well thought out plan.
Yes, he rich.
That wasn't a run of the mill.
He just evil. Some people just got a mean streak in them. I mean, they've been around for years.
So I take it you're not going to go and see the Joker, am I right?
No, I ain't interested in that.
You're not interested. All right. No. Tony, not to get
I don't
back
like his
on,
shoes.
You don't, well, not to get back on topic
now,
for once.
Catwoman in some tennis shoes, she got me.
Now, are you talking Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman?
More Natalia Neidhart should be Catwoman.
Well, she's worn similar outfits.
Yeah.
All right, Tony.
That's the Catwoman.
Let's talk a little wrestling now.
Wrestling. Natalia is a wrestler.
No, I know.
With nice shoes.
The point of this program is now we've talked about health care in Maine, the Atlas family, the Joker, mass shootings. It's actually about the Wednesday night wars. On the USA Network at 8 p.m. on Wednesday night, you have WWE NXT. Debuting this past Wednesday night on the TNT Network, professional wrestling for the first time since March of 2001, AEW Dynamite. Tony, the fans wanted us to talk about it. More important to me, they wanted to hear what you thought about it. I know you went out of your way to tune in when you got home from the hospital. What did you think about NXT and AEW?
AEW, number 1. NXT, number 2. WWE, number 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
That was a hell of a show.
AEW?
Yeah, buddy.
What did you like about AEW?
Well, it just AEW. But they both had good talent.
Mm-hmm.
NXT was pretty much 1980, pretty much. AEW was more updated to what going on now without the drama.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is more drama than anything. I would say a good 40% of it, when I watch it, is drama.
Bullshit.
A lot
to be
of talking.
fair, yeah.
It's more like an Oprah Winfield show than wrestling, you know. But I was shocked with both companies, NXT and AEW, started it off. At the beginning, you see wrestling. With WWE, you have to wait almost an hour before you see a match. And then after you see that match, more talking.
More talking.
Now, I think that NXT, for a new company, too much, and don't y'all jump on me for this.
This is your opinion. You're entitled to it.
Too much attention on women wrestlers.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's why they took the number 2 spot, in my opinion, and that elite wrestling took number 1 because they had some women wrestling.
But it wasn't overkill.
It wasn't overkill, but then the women that they did have wrestling, I mean, you don't see monster women anymore. I mean, you know.
Well, that one's transgender.
Yeah, also called her. What's that Indian girl, that big Indian? What a bull she was.
The big Indian.
Something Nadi or something like that.
Who?
You know her too. She was
in
at
what
the Hall
promotion?
of Fame. She with the elite wrestling there. She had markers on, long hair. You know her too. She was on the Independent for years. I can't think of her name, but she was very.
And she was
very
on this past Wednesday night.
Yep. I watched her match. She was on with AEW.
Yeah.
Yep. Something for N. He would know. Who know I'm talking about?
Nyla.
An Indian, look like American Indian, Native American.
Yeah, she's the transgender wrestler.
You had to mess it up, didn't you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Walter Hillside, Google it, brother, just to make sure I'm 100% right about that.
You had to mess it up.
I thought you knew.
That's not a woman.
No, well, in her mind. Walter, are you Googling? I hope.
Remember they had the Hall of Fame in Rhode Island? Matt Bone
you're
was
talking about that? Okay, I know what you're talking about now. See, you confuse me sometimes. We're on 2 different wavelengths. I know what you mean. Yes, down in the Rhode Island one. Yep.
She came through, and I was going to give her some tennis shoes to walk on, and then you telling me she's not a woman.
Well, in her mind, she feels she's a woman. Well, Walter, are you Googling, brother? Is that you over in the corner? I can't see. Is that a thumbs up?
Yes. Walter, what's the word on that?
Nyla Rose used to be a man and is now a female.
Nyla Rose is a man.
Nyla Rose,
was.
Yes.
I guess is
was in the championship match.
What you have a? Y'all picking on me.
I'm not picking on you, Tony.
We've killed the fantasy for you, brother.
Well, I like her as a friend, but no face walking for her. She ain't stepping on my face.
Why wouldn't you let her walk on you?
She's a man.
In her mind, she's a woman.
I don't care. In my
All
man,
right.
she's a man.
All right, well.
Is my face going to get stepped on? So it got to be female, size 10 shoe.
All right, well, I don't know what size shoe she had, but it was a big
If she's
one.
a man, she probably had a 13.
All right. Back to the context of the show, Tony. You liked AEW the best.
Yeah.
Why did you think AEW was better?
Well,
because there were more men featured? No pun intended at this point.
They was able to stick to the basics, which is wrestling, without going back in the past. And they did something that a person told me a long time ago, that and I named John Morrison told me this, and CM Punk told me the same thing. In fact, me and CM Punk got in a big fight about it. I was talking about that they should make wrestling the way it used to be in my day. And CM Punk said, if you could take some of what you did, Tony, in your day, and mix it in with what is going on today, you have a great show.
I agree with that.
And that's what they did. So it was more, they had the basics of what of my generation, but they was able to take it and move it into today's floor mat without losing any of the old school philosophy. Whereas when I watched NXT, it looked like they were strictly trying to get away from, just go I think they went too much with the basics. And another thing too and this go for both of them. They smarten up people, both group, by doing incredible things, and the person get up.
They kick out before
What in
three.
the hell are you going to use for a finish?
I thought that to myself many times.
I seen some moves. I said,
on Wednesday night.
This got to be it. The guy gets up.
They turn it into almost video game like wrestling when you can't beat the guy.
They still had not learned to put the real. Now, I saw Cody wrestling. That Cody match looked more legitimately. The other match had more excitement that went on when they had their championship match in the beginning. But some of the things they did to each other, it's hard for people to believe any legitimacy in it. I mean, they sold perfect, they sold everything, but it was just too much.
I'll go through my thoughts of AEW. I thought for the first time in probably for the first time since Jim Ross.
They're going to give Vince a run for his money.
And Mick Foley with a commentary team on SmackDown, I thought you had a credible commentary team on a national wrestling show. Maybe I'm not taking anything away from TNA and Ring of Honor, which I really don't see all that much of. But compared to WWE, they had credible announcers portraying what was on the screen, as opposed to WWE using their words, WWE using the WWE Sports Entertainment and the certain enunciations that they like, Michael Cole with his fake orgasm-like screams, having women on there as commentators that they just feed punchlines to instead of letting them speak.
What is with you and them women in wrestling?
Just let me go through my thought process of the show, and then we'll go back to yours. The commentary on AEW, I don't like the guy wearing the mask for wearing the mask, but the team itself was excellent. I wouldn't have a commentator wear a mask. That's just me. Maybe I'm old school. I thought the presentation of the overall event felt different, even though it was in a major league arena. It felt very different than what WWE portrays. I didn't feel like it was a cookie cutter, so to speak. I thought the presentation of it was good. They had a nice surprise to end the show with the return of Jack Swagger, who was certainly misused and miscast the final 3 or 4 years he was in WWE. Anytime you have a big surprise, you're going to get a great reaction, but he got a great reaction.
Now, another thing that I liked about AEW was that they would give a little history on how the wrestler got there.
Yeah.
So by the time this guy got to the ring, you kind of understood
what was already happening.
Yeah, and I like that. They came on the night
short,
before,
sweet, and to the point.
Right, and they would show the guy training and interviewing him and watch him working out and training his dream and what he wanted to do. So when he walk in the ring, you have a better feeling of like, it's not so like, who in the hell is that?
Right.
Type.
Yeah. You were familiar with him.
Yeah. And I thought that part of it that they should continue to do AEW, that I thought was fantastic, which they didn't do with NXT. I mean, guys were wrestling and we didn't know anything about it.
You were unfamiliar with them.
We didn't familiar.
And back to AEW, and this is something I've noticed with the pay-per-view type events that they've already had. There were 3 matches that I thought were very good, but 2 of them were just so overbooked. It was too much for me. The Cody Rhodes match you mentioned, he worked Sammy Guevara to open the show. And you know, I don't understand why.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Let me just go through a little of it.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes' wife came out and got involved, and I don't understand why Cody has to come out with the wife anyway, but she hit the guy in the face with the shoe, then Cody goes out to hit a plancha, he hits the wife by accident, and that wasn't the finish. Then there were a couple of big-time moves off of the top rope, those weren't the finishes. So I didn't think you needed that much to have a great match. Fast forward to the end of the show, the main event, you had Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks against Jericho and LAX, which was another really good match. You ended it with the big surprise with Jack Swagger, but before you get to that point, they have Dean Ambrose run in, interfere. He brawls all over the building with Kenny Omega. He DDTs him through a glass table. I don't think you needed that spot on episode 1. We already had the big moment at the end of the show. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I like it short, sweet, simple, and to the point, because then you can keep delivering more great content and not blow through it all in 1 week. I think if you have a show where you have 2 or 3 great takeaways, it's successful. You don't need 7 or 8 takeaways, or people don't remember them as well. You know what I mean? One man's opinion. And I think they have a lot of independent type stuff that doesn't belong on national TV. They had a brawl on stage with some of the absolute weakest, worst looking punches I've ever seen. But you know what, overall, I mean, look at this, Tony. We've been talking about AEW for a while. Did you think it would be as successful as it was when you turned on that TV?
By it looked like a WWE show.
I wish them great luck, and I hope they're very successful.
I would say, and I'm not knocking nobody, I'm not saying that what I'm saying is true. But Ric Flair told me this. There was a guy called Sputnik Monroe.
Yeah.
And he wanted to start a union.
Yeah.
And I riding down the street one day, would talk to a bunch of guys, and Ric Flair happened to be one of the guys. And Ric Flair told me, he said, the guy that making $50,000, the guy that making $100,000 a year could give a red ass about the guy making $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
He also told me there's no loyalty in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Vince McMahon, Jr., his father didn't do that, but Jr. did. He would let another territory build this wrestler up so he become the biggest draw. JYD Junkyard Dog was the biggest, and Ted DiBiase was the biggest draw for Mid-South.
Yeah.
Picked up the phone, made one phone call, gone. What I'm afraid that is going to happen with NXT is Vince will make one phone call, especially people that have been there. They're only with AEW because they can't go nowhere else. That is just my opinion. I could be wrong.
WWE made a major play to get Cody Rhodes, Omega, the Young Bucks. You know, Jericho has been with them for a long time.
I ain't talking about them guys. I'm talking about guys that have worked for Vince.
Mm-hmm.
People in the wrestling business, see, wrestlers is a individual sport.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not on a team like the New England Patriots or Chicago Bears. You there for yourself. Like I told all the wrestlers that I trained, I said, you Burger King, you McDonald's, you Wendy's. You're all in the same business selling hamburger. But if one of you're not a team. All them wrestlers with AEW is not part of AEW. Everybody is there for themselves. So if they, for one reason, if even have the Vince, remember when they were with WCW hanging out all them big large contract, I mean, the guys that Vince made, like Bobby Heenan for one, you know, guys that Vince created, the Bret Hart, guys that Vince created.
Well, I'll say this.
One phone call, they were gone. So I'm afraid of this. This is what I'm afraid of.
All right, let's hear it.
That they would push, and Vince would wait, and whoever is the top guy, the very top guy, is going to end up with Vince.
Well, if they were willing to pay the price, he could have had them.
Well, no, but
within the past year.
Well, no, but they was on a low note then. See, with
no,
wrestling,
they're getting big money offers.
I was a wrestler many years. Something you don't know about wrestlers.
Let's hear it.
I asked George the Animal Steel. I said, how come we get along so good now? He said, no more ego. There's a thing called an ego with every wrestler. Mm-hmm. All they have to do, the first time Cody asked one of them to do a job, they're all going to be there. They're all the Young Bucks, everyone, they're all going to kick up their heels as long as they're going over. But as soon as they had to put somebody else over, and Vince would do,
Undertaker, baby.
And Vince make that phone call, they're gone.
Well, like I said, he could have had them, but I think the great thing right now for the industry as a whole, the substantial raises the guys in WWE are getting.
It's gonna make WWE to get off their butt and come up with new and better things, because it's a great competition. Great competition for them, you know. But I'm just afraid that what Vince did before, that he would do again.
All right, Tony, I'm getting a message. We're having technical difficulties. We're going to take a brief time out and come back. I'm Dan Marotti.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Let us tell you how the action and excitement of the Millennium Wrestling Federation can help raise cash for your nonprofit cause. Experience the action and excitement of the Millennium Wrestling Federation live in your city throughout New England, the tri-state area, down through the Carolinas, out to our friends in the Midwest and beyond.
If your nonprofit organization is looking for an interactive turnkey experience while putting the fun into fundraising, you've met the perfect tag team partner to work with every step of the way.
The MWF offers a variety of packages for groups of almost any size, from our live events at the Boston Garden, the Kowloon Entertainment Dining Complex, and the legendary Suffolk Downs, to high school gyms and function halls. We've presented live events everywhere and anywhere.
Since 2001, the MWF's mission has been simple: keep the kids off the streets. Under the leadership of President David Reese, we bring the superstars of yesterday, today, and tomorrow to your town. Not for a wrestling show, but an event that features action-packed in-ring wrestling, autograph, pose photo opportunities, Q&A sessions, and so much more. It's the best of sports and entertainment. The week of your event, we can add on to the endeavor with anti-bullying campaigns, library meet and greet reads, youth sport concussion seminars, and more.
Our live events are fit for fans of any age from 5 to 95. This fall is part of our new Kids Club program. We offer live event experiences exclusively for the youngest of fans. On the flip side, we can produce a tailor-made event for fans of an older demographic as well. We work with you every step of the way to get the word out to fans near and far on our local television offerings and to over 50,000 fans and growing on our social media platforms.
Your success is our success. If your group has had enough of candy bar and wrapping paper sales and has the energy to team with our passionate fan base, bringing the NWF experience to your community is the answer to put smiles on faces while raising cash for your cause.
Contact us today to get the ball rolling for your custom-made event that you'll want to bring back year after year to your community.
Don't just take it from us. Here are the folks we've teamed up with in the past.
Wrestling fans, welcome back. Tony has a new microphone. We know you all want to hear Tony.
Yes, I do. This is Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer, Tony Atlas.
I'm going to guess if they've watched this much of the show, they know that, but it was a hell of an introduction.
I'm just doing it to remind myself who I am.
All right, let's talk a little bit about NXT, Tony, as we were cut off. I know you really enjoyed the opening match, the NXT Championship between Adam Cole and Matt Riddle.
Yes, I did. I'll tell you, NXT match, I liked it, but like I said, they did so much to each other that what are you going to come back with?
It was overbooked.
Overdone. They tried so hard to beat the other guy. So, it's an old saying in wrestling, sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. Because I've seen moves that I've said, that's it. Then it kicks out.
I think too much nowadays you see wrestlers trying to have a WrestleMania moment on a regular TV show. Save those type of big matches, those big kickouts, those big moves. Save those for the pay-per-views and the bigger events, and then they'll mean more when they actually have them, as opposed to everybody trying to have a WrestleMania quality match on every TV show.
Now, if any of the writers from WWE are listening, or NXT are listening to me, you don't have to, but try to listen to this. When I was boxing as a kid, and when I was wrestling as an amateur, every one of my coaches always told me the same thing, both in boxing and in wrestling. Never worry about what your opponent is going to do. Only worry about what you're going to do. And I think what happened with NXT, they were so much, because I don't know, I could be wrong, but by watching it, it seemed like it was the same show. When they had a championship match at the beginning, they had a championship match at the beginning. They had a girl match, the other guys had a girl match. Did you notice that?
Well, there wasn't a championship match to start AEW.
Yeah, there was. Yep. The barefooted guy, that was the champion there. That was their champion.
Yeah, that was on NXT.
NXT.
On AEW, Cody wasn't the champion.
Cody's not the champion?
No, Jericho is.
Jericho is. But Jericho was involved in that. But
he was involved at the end,
right. And then right after that match, they both had lady matches.
Yeah.
So I watched a lady match here, and then I turned to the other channel, I see another lady match. It was if each side knew what the other's going to do.
It was almost, did it remind you of Raw and Nitro?
No, it reminded me of when Hogan was with TNA.
They only went head-to-head for a very short period of time. All right.
Vince knew what TNA was going to do.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Right.
Well, TNA was pre-taped a lot of the time.
Either somebody was telling Cody what Vince is going to do, or somebody's telling Vince what Cody is going to do. But it just struck me as odd, the similarity with the matches. I don't know if anybody noticed that but me. Their first match was a big, long, drawn-out match.
Yeah. They both wanted to open with a hot match.
With a big hot match, a big day, and then the sucker match on both shows were women matches, which was kind of odd to me, because I didn't want to see the women match. So I changed to see the guy match. Hell, they got a women match, and then I started thinking. I said, wait a minute now. How in the hell, if you notice, if you could go through each thing, the similarity between it's like each one side knew what the other team was going to do, and they tried to match it.
I think the women's match was on the second hour of AEW. I might be wrong.
Right after, the women's match on both of them was right after the Cody match, and right after I was watching both of them. I switched, and then it was a one match right after the guy with the bare foot there.
Matt Riddle. Now, you keep talking about the man with the bare feet.
Yeah,
what did you think of Matt Riddle? What did you think of him?
I thought both of them, including their champion, was freaking incredible. I think the talent on both teams is freaking incredible. But I was just surprised about, and that's what got me to thinking. I said, somebody told somebody something in order for them to do that. How did Vince know what they're going to do? How? How did Cody know what Vince is going to do? How?
AEW announced ahead of time what their opener was going to be, and they knew maybe not where it was going to be placed on the show, but the main event was announced. If what you're saying is true, maybe WWE could have kind of
somebody copied something. It was like they were trying to match what the other guy did. So when they put on a woman match, they had a woman match.
Well, let me ask you this, Tony.
It was just weird to me. It was like watching the same show.
You liked AEW a little more than NXT.
Yeah.
And you liked AEW and NXT more than Raw and SmackDown.
Less talking, because of the talking aspects of it.
Do you know?
Now, the WWE got the best talent, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But what takes away from it? Too much talking.
Imagine a Raw or a SmackDown like that. I'd enjoy it at the pace of the AEW show.
To start
maybe
off,
not overbooked.
I mean, you advertise in wrestling, and right off the bat, you get a wrestling match. I mean, you ain't seen that since the 80s. That been out of style for you ain't seen that in the past 30 or 40 years.
All right, let me ask you this, Tony. At the end of the day, who do you think won the ratings battle for the night?
Probably NXT.
AEW.
AEW.
1.4 million to just under 900,000 for WWE. With WWE being able to promote NXT all over SmackDown and Raw, you think there's a little pie on the face in WWE where they got beat by a startup group's first TV show?
No.
No, you don't think it's an embarrassment to them. Why is that?
Because Vince knows he could take the whole team if he wanted to. That's why. There's no loyalty
why
with the
didn't
wrestlers.
he? He could have prevented AEW from even starting up if he spent the money.
He don't want to invest the money.
How much are they having to invest in NXT right now?
Okay, you don't understand when I say invest the money. When you bring in a new wrestler, you have to spend a lot of money to get him over before he started making you money. When a wrestler first come in, he makes the promotion no money. He costs the promotion money.
You think if he brought in Omega, the Young Bucks, and Cody Rhodes, he'd have to spend money for them to make him money? I don't think so.
I do.
Look at how successful they've been right off the bat with AEW. AEW is spending no time in trying to get them over.
I understand what you say. I'm trying to get you to understand.
Healthy debate.
Understand what I say. Whenever you bring in any new wrestler, you even if he's a little bit known,
right? You have to spend time to build him up.
I was known from Georgia Championship Wrestling before I came to WWF. But Vince did invested a lot of money in me for about 6 to 8 weeks. On television, advertisement, and everything else.
All right.
There's an investment that goes on when you bring in a guy. Now, it takes Vince at least a year before he started making money back.
It's a different era right now. If you're
I-
taking an independent guy off the street, you might take a couple of years to have them filter through the NXT system. But guys that they brought into, the featured guys in AEW right now are guys that were instantaneously over. Whether they went to AEW, whether they went to TNA, whether they went to...
Dan,
what's
I
that?
understand what you're saying, but you see...
What am I missing from what you're saying,
This is
buddy?
what you are very, very, very informed.
Well, thank you.
Wrestler, genius. You know
A
the
genius,
business.
thank you.
You're a genius when it comes to wrestling because you know it inside and out. I'm trying to explain to you the regular Joe out there. They ain't got a freaking clue who none of these guys are.
Then why did 1.4 million people tune in to see it?
Because curiosity killed the cat. They were smart enough to get on television the day before.
True.
And they told people what was coming their way. So
They also sold out a 14,000-seat arena.
Right, but what I'm saying is it's just that something new at the beginning.
All right.
But people know NXT, but you ask most of the guys, people now who was them wrestlers, they couldn't tell you. With WWE, they know who the guys are. These guys are not as well known to all the fans as much as you think they are individually. And as a group, as a company, yes. And they do have a big following and everything. But I didn't know who these guys was, and I've been keeping up with that for a long time.
Yeah.
What do you call them? The Bullet Club?
The Bullet Club, yeah.
I didn't know who they were till you asked me to draw a picture of them.
All right, well, there you go.
I know a lot of people that Stone Wrestling fan, I mentioned them. Who is that? But if you mention John Cena, yeah, I know John Cena. You mention Hulk Hogan, yeah, I know Hulk Hogan. They got more what they call established individuals.
Oh, sure. Well, he's had X amount of years on Vince's TV.
Vince have to still establish them.
He'd still have to establish them, but they would print money the day they walked in, like AJ Styles. AJ Styles came in after years in TNA, years in New Japan Wrestling. He came in, he was over his... Fuck the night he debuted at the Royal Rumble in Orlando. They didn't have to invest their time. Did every fan know who he was? No. But I think the fans that didn't know who he was, they saw the reaction that he got, and they knew he was somebody special.
See, when I say investment in promoting him.
I understand
pushing him, doing these things. There's a lot of stuff going on, and you know this as well as I do. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that costs Vince money.
Absolutely.
That you don't see. He going places, making the experience and doing stuff. Vince is paying for all this, and so Vince don't really, no promoter. You can call your best friend Sue. She tell you the same thing.
Well,
no promoter.
I
don't care how well known you think you are. A promoter don't start making money after a wrestler when they first come in. They just spend money on these guys when they first come in. They have not brought in the revenue right off the bat.
That's the general rule of thumb, and I agree with you. But like I'm saying, there are some guys that are over enough that they come in and they're instantly over and they can instantly generate revenue. I think the guys that are on top in AEW right now, if Vince was able to sign them last year before AEW got off the ground, I think, would they have been known to every fan that tuned in? No. But the reaction would have been huge. They would have been generating merchandise revenue right away. And the fans that were maybe unfamiliar with them, they would have known. Again, like AJ back at Royal Rumble 2016, they knew something special was right in front of them. And that would have made it a quicker transition for Vince to be able to get them on the house show loop and advertise them to try and sell tickets. It's a new generation now. As a WWE stockholder myself, There are some things I wish they did differently.
But there's something about AJ that I noticed that you probably didn't notice.
What's that?
He could only carry it by himself for so long.
He can only what?
Carry it by himself for a short period of time. He's not a Hogan. He's
no, you're right about that.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say.
He's an outstanding wrestler.
But he can't carry it like a John Cena.
Could he carry a company? No.
No.
I agree with you.
And that's why whenever they take and put you with a tag team, the tag team is to help you. They didn't put him with him to help the other guy. They put guys with JJ to keep him alive. There's only so much that the people can believe about him. You understand? He's limited in many, many ways. Vince knows that. That's when they put you with a tag team. Or they put you in teams, they put you with other groups, all this stuff to keep you alive. Like Abraham Washington was not doing that well on his show. So Vince got the idea, hey, put Tony Atlas in the lab.
Give him some rub.
Yeah, give him some rub. So then Pat Patterson came back, he said, we were going to cancel that show, Tony, until you came. He said, you are the show now.
Well, that must have made you feel good.
It was Abraham Washington, but everybody tuned in to hear the laugh. They
the Ed McMahon,
yeah, they could give a red ass about what Abraham Washington was talking about. All they want to do was hear, that's all they want to hear.
After your part, it was over.
It was over. So what I'm trying to say is, no matter how much they push a person, there's very few people, like a Hogan or Stone Cold, that could carry it in a single division. Like you take these two kids now that everybody is so hot about. Now when you put them with that WWE talent, where the guys are a little bit more bigger,
a
little bit more soldier, all of a sudden they ain't gonna be looking too damn good. You put him in the ring with some of the guys from NXT who is much bigger and much powerful looking. You got to realize these are a lot of people we talking about. We ain't talking about big people here. They're very small people. So they good in their environment. But once you take the little fish, like I was say, it's butter right now. But I see what did they name that team again?
The Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks. I see the Young Bucks as a big fish in a small screen. But once you take that big that fish out of there and put him in the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean, all of a sudden he ain't looking like you think he's gonna look. Kind of like you got this college football player that is outstanding in college. Then all of a sudden he get with the pros, and all of a sudden he ain't pulling his weight. A prime example for this, he was a hell of an athlete too, but in the pros he didn't do as well as he did when he played for Georgia Tech or when he played baseball. What was his name?
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. He came. Everybody was looking. This guy played baseball, played 3 different sports, and was good at all of them. So they figured, oh, Bo gonna come into the MFL and shake it up. Didn't happen. See, but he was great in college.
Sure.
Dwayne Johnson, he got hurt, fantastic in college, but how was he going to do in the pro? Not that good.
He didn't even make it to the pros. He was in Canadian football.
That's what I'm trying to say. George Wells in Canada was a hell of a, God rest his soul, was a hell of a, I mean, he was known for the guy with the most sacks. He was a hell of a defensive lineman. He had more sacks. He had a record for how many sacks. Angelo Moscow, he was Canadian football, hell of a player. Come to the America, not so good. And that's the only thing that I'm saying, that they are good in their own environment.
I think there's a lot to what you're saying.
In their own
How
environment.
would they get over in
Vince's? But once you take them out of that environment and put them with, because they're good performers, don't get me wrong, but to me, is that size thing.
I agree with you on that.
There's
a lot of what they do isn't believable.
Yeah, all the flips
to
and
be
flops.
fair.
Yeah,
they're great athletes.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching it, but it's almost like that 500-piece jigsaw puzzle. It's like they take it and they dump it on the table, and the moves are the 500 pieces, and they're just all over the place.
Right. Even among the pros when I was coming up, you take like a Wahoo McDaniels, was the hardest thing in Mid-Atlantic wrestling. Paul Jones was hot with Mid-Atlantic. They brought Paul Jones and Wahoo to Georgia Championship Wrestling. Tommy Rich and Tony Atlas and Mr. Wrestling number 2 was hotter. And I used to sit in the dressing room sometimes, I said, I can't believe that Wahoo is semi-main and I'm main event.
Yeah.
Johnny Valentine, Blackjack Mulligan is doing a job for me. I couldn't believe it. Mulligan in Texas and Oklahoma and all them places, big, nobody beat him. Come to WWE, He's losing to Tony Atlas. And I have seen it over the years. You could be great in one area. Tommy Wildfire Rich was the hardest thing that in Georgia. Took Tommy out of Georgia, bring him up to WWF. I think he had one match.
He went to Vince for one match?
I think it was one match.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they didn't want him. But down south, they talk about him.
They loved him.
Oh, yeah, they loved him down south. You take Jericho King Lawler, he was great in Tennessee. Only Tennessee.
Well, he's had a 25-year run with Vince.
WWF, because he was a promoter.
All right.
That was mainly why he stayed along so long. He was a promoter.
All right, Tony, back to the topic at hand. AEW wins the rating wars week 1. They have a sellout in Boston this week. We've had some nice dialogue with AEW about being involved with what we're doing. I'm looking forward to being at Agganis Arena on Wednesday night. They have another sellout in Philadelphia on week 3 for their program. Then they've kind of come down to earth as far as ticket sales go. They're not going bad by any stretch of the imagination, but these instant sellouts that they thought, the diehard fans thought were going to be consistent, really isn't happening as of now. They have a pay-per-view in Baltimore in November that isn't sold out yet either. Do you think AEW at this point would be better fared to try and create and cultivate their own independent wrestling stars, or do you think they'd be better to play big-time free agent money and try and recruit some top guys that are well-known from WWE, like they did with Jericho and Ambrose, and even to an extent Jim Ross?
If I was them, nobody that had any affiliation with Vince would be in my company.
You'd wipe the slate totally clean. Well, let me ask you this. Would you have signed Ambrose if you were them?
No, well, hell no.
Why not? He gives them some credibility. He's a nationally known star.
I see, it go back to that loyalty. He was not loyal to Vince. Vince made him.
He didn't want to be there. Should he be miserable? Should he be miserable? All right.
Loyalty is what I'm trying to teach you. That guy, would nobody know who the hell he was if it was for Vince.
Correct.
Vince made him.
Correct.
He did the same thing that Vince, that Junkyard Dog, did to Bill Watts. He did the same thing that Hulk Hogan did to Vern Gagne. It's the same thing.
So should his alternative have been to wait for his contract to expire and then not work? He likes to wrestle. He wants to wrestle.
Well, he was wrestling. They were pushing him. What were they doing?
He didn't like being there.
Who cares?
He does. It's his
He
life.
ain't gonna like that either.
What?
If he don't get his way there, he ain't gonna like that either later on. That's his personality.
That remains to be seen.
He played hardball, but what he showed me, see, this is why I feel this way. Ric Flair and Sting, when the big takeover was going on, the war between WCW, if Sting had left, Vince would have won earlier. But Sting had what they call, Sting had loyalty. I was with WCW. The Sting, even Ron Summers was champion. Sting was the man. Sting was still the man. Ron Summers could not carry that could not carry it. Sting had to be that secondary there to draw the money and to get the people in. Because I remember Ron Summers went out the ring as a champion. I was there. And then when Sting, with nobody on the feet, the Sting was the man there. Hulk Hogan was selling out everything in Minneapolis. Every freaking building there is Minneapolis. The whole territory. The territory was on fire. Vince made a phone call. Hogan went back. That's what I mean by the loyalty. These guys, they not happy with Vince, but they know, like I know. I don't care who you work for or how long you work for them. You would never get huge unless you work for Vince. Like, what do we talk about all the time? WWE.
Yeah.
Because that is the top. You can't get no bigger. These guys are coming along. They may grow, but you look at maybe 10 years down the road if they survive that long. But with Vince, when you go with WWE, you known all over the world. It just that way. They're like you got the Prime Minister of England, the Prime Minister of Germany, you got the Prime Minister of France, you got all the top leaders of all these top countries. But the only one that is important to anybody in the world is who is President of the United States. So Vince is kind of like the United States, and these other groups are kind of like other European leaders.
Right, I'm going to ask you specifically to answer this question.
Okay.
Dean Ambrose fulfilled his obligations to WWE. He did all the jobs they asked him to do on the way out. He was a free agent. He was not contracted to anybody. How is he being disloyal by signing a contract with another company? He didn't do like what Sasha Banks did, take the ball and go home and cry while they were under contract. He fulfilled his commitments and he was a professional.
I just feel that where he's at now, this is my feeling, yes, my feeling, that all these ex-WWE guys, they don't want to be there. They want to be with Vince.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I talked to a lot of people in WWE. I'm going by people that are under contract now that I interact with that would like to have a better experience.
Remember you asked me.
They like his money.
Remember you asked me what did I think?
Yeah.
And that's what I think. I mean, I know if your opinion were the same man, we wouldn't have a discussion.
If he wanted to be with Vince, Ambrose wouldn't have left.
Ambrose, I don't think he left because he had to. I think he left because he pulled a power play, kind of like guys did in the. See, us wrestlers, young wrestlers, Vince told me something one time I never forgot. He said, "You forgot who owned the company," and that's what happened with young talent. We figured that we are irreplaceable and we are invincible.
Well, they've replaced him certainly on the cards.
That's what we feel.
But I don't understand why someone would begrudge him. Because as a free agent, he had no contract to anyone. He thought the best path for his life was to be with AEW.
The only reason that I feel like that because I saw what happened with TNA there when they brought in all the WWE guys and they died.
They died, but I say this
because this is what these guys would do. They would push to kill off all the good talent. That's why. The only reason that AJ Styles is worth anything right now, when Hogan came in, and the only reason that the other guy, he left too, Booker T left. When Hogan came in, Booker T left. What's the guy that got all the muscles? He's with WWE now. Bobby Lashley left. They all had problems with Earl Bischoff and Hogan. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
They all skipped over. And I talked to Booker T and asked him why. He said, I want to keep me alive. Dusty Rhodes would come into a territory and everybody that is hot, everybody, he would kill them all. Dean Ambrose and them guys, what they going to do, they there to help kill off any talent that will grow. And then once they kill off every talent that will grow, Vince going to make that phone call, and they're going to be gone, leaving Colin holding his pepper in his hand. That's my opinion.
Final thoughts on NXT. Do you think they should stay in that building in Full Sail University down in Florida, or do you think they should go on the road for their Wednesday night TV taping? Do you think that building's too small? Do you think it's going to be too repetitive of an audience?
Where Vince, for years, kept the same building. It is too soon to tell them to bounce around. If your audience will tell you when it's time to move. But as long as they is drawn and doing well, they have to get someplace to be established. Like ECW, they stayed in that ECW building, that arena, for years. That's how they got developed.
But they weren't doing a weekly TV taping out of it.
Right. Where Vince
did, burn out the audience.
Vince did TV taping in Allentown, Pennsylvania for years.
Every 3 weeks.
Then he moved it to Poughkeepsie, New York in the mid-'80s. But he stayed with Poughkeepsie for years.
Every 3 weeks.
Because
not every week.
But I think that they should leave it just like it is for now. It's too soon for them to go bouncing all over. They're not that established. They just had their debut last night. They're not that established.
Who was the best wrestler you saw on NXT? If you could book one guy, who would it be?
Cody.
That was AEW. I'm talking about NXT, WWE show.
Like I said, I don't know their names. See
the
my
guy
point?
You like the barefoot one.
Yeah, but
You don't know,
there
they
was
don't know
other
their
two,
names
that,
yet.
but I don't know them. See,
Well, that
because
means you're just
they didn't do what Cody did. Cody kind of gave an introduction to everybody prior to. Vince just threw them out there.
AEW had a better presentation.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
because you had some sense of that you already knew this person.
Yeah.
I mean, because each person they came with that little life story. It wasn't long.
Yep. Wasn't long, but it was enough.
It was just enough. So you get a general idea of the individual you were working with. Kind of like you go into a boxing match and you look across the ring and here's a guy you never saw a day in your life that you got to fight. Where I would come in and say, Dad, here's a tape of your some of your opponent, and you could sit down with that tape and you could watch me fight someone else before you have to fight me. So I think they did a better job. I think Cody learned from his father that you can have the best match in the world, and the conversation the next day. You remember that guy with the bare feet? That's what we doing.
Good point. You don't even remember it, right?
We ain't called the guy name yet. Because the guy name was mentioned one time in, how long did the show last? 2 hours?
Yeah.
How in the hell are we going to remember his name?
That's a great point.
See?
From the veteran.
The only time we hear this guy's name when they introduce him, but then we didn't hear his name no more that night. How in the hell are we going to remember who the only thing we know, the guy with the bare feet.
Last but not least, are you surprised that AEW won the ratings battle so decisively by over 600,000, 500,000 fans?
No, because I think what hurt NXT, people was expecting the same stuff that Vince do, and they was hoping to see something new with NXT because with Vince, they probably were thinking they're going to come down with the freaking microphone. That's what they think. It's related. So in their mind, they thinking, oh, it's going to be like WWE. It's part of WWE.
Yeah.
And we've seen WWE. So I think WWE hurt NXT. My opinion. WWE hurt NXT because the people is thinking it's going to be the same thing. It's kind of like a guy come from penitentiary for a job, and then another guy come from the same penitentiary, and you think, well, they both got out of jail. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they both went to penitentiary.
Yeah.
So when they both come to the house, you're expecting not to, they're the same type of people. They're convicts. So and I think that what hurt them, because what the Vince and I've talked to, see, Vince is marking his program for those under 15.
And they don't watch it.
But because it's commercialized.
It's cold and dead to young people.
It's commercialized because all they think about is selling merchandise.
Yeah.
And then everything is geared towards kids. You see what I'm saying?
And they're doing a poor job.
Right.
With
He was
that.
doing good with the Attitude Era because it was more towards adult. But then they got away from the Attitude Era when Linda McMahon decides she's going to run for public office.
The Senate, yeah.
And ever since she's started running for public office, I think that killed WWE because they was not giving the people what they wanted to see. They want to see blood and guts, not Buzz Bunny and Mickey Mouse. They didn't want to see cartoons.
Right. Yep, you're
so
right.
they became too cartoonish. If they were focused more on selling the action figures than wrestling tickets. Vince even said himself. He said Ted Turner lost because Ted Turner was in the wrestling business and I was in the entertainment business.
Well,
but last night,
as someone that, all right, go ahead.
But last night Vince went back to the wrestling business, but nobody knew that he was going to go to the wrestling business. They thought they were going to see pretty much a reproduction. So what they did, they gave Cody an advantage because they figured, well, let's try and see if we could see something new. But Vince was very, very smart by starting off. Now, I'm going to tell you something else, too. Even though they got the more rating, a lot of people are going to find out, probably going to watch on the internet, the NXT show. And when
That's right. NXT was available the next day on WWE Network.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you what probably happened. If I'm right, Let's keep up with this stuff.
All
right. Next time around, NXT going to whoop them.
Next week?
They're going to whoop them.
All right. Well, I look forward to being
Because now people know that it's not the same. See, when somebody come from the same, like an apple fall from a tree, you expect every apple on that tree to be the same. It came from the same tree. When NXL is a brand new fruit in the orchard. It's a new tree in the orchard. So everybody want to taste the fruit. That's just a taste. You can't judge it on just the taste, because I may try your cooking, but then the next time you offer me some of that spaghetti, I'm gonna say, well, brother, not really. The last time I ate your spaghetti, gave me gas, or that spaghetti. So I don't want it.
Do you think that Lanny Poffo likes what he cooks?
Right, curiosity.
You think he likes to take a taste? He's not curious anymore, though. He knows the taste.
What is wrong with you?
All right, wrestling fans. I'm looking forward to AEW Wednesday night in Boston.
I could be wrong about all that. Right. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm just throwing it out there. For what it's worth.
I'm very happy, Tony. We've opened up a nice rapport with AEW. I hope they get involved with the show like WWE has over the years. I think it'll make for a lot of fun for us to have more to talk about.
I just don't trust them ex-WWE guys with NXT. I don't. Now, if they had went with NXT, I would say everything is cool.
Same
but
company.
Every wrestler in the world want to be with Vince. I'm telling you.
All right, we shall see.
They look at this program as a stepping stone to Vince.
Perhaps. I just look forward to seeing how it plays out over the next months and hopefully years. I hope everybody, in the end, I hope everybody's successful to keep creating jobs and growing fans.
And there's one more problem with AEW.
What's that? You're not there?
No.
What's that?
The promoter is a wrestler.
Fair enough. All right, Tony, we're running out of time now. The big one for us, Saturday night, December the 28th, 2 blocks that way, Memorial Hall. We're going to blow the roof off of the venue. It's the homecoming. The first time we've been back in the Northeast in quite a while for a live event. We're working on some top-tier talent. The tickets are getting ready to go on sale. It's going to be a happening. Check out BostonWrestling.com for MWF Project X. Don't forget the Patreon. You want to help Tony live. You want to help Tony get booked. You want to help Tony have some money in the wallet. Get him here to the studio more. Subscribe to the Patreon.
I'm the Tower of Power, too sweet and sour, often imitated but never duplicated. Kind of broad at the shoulder, narrow at the hip. Nobody around give me in the lip. You see me coming, but a step aside. A lot of men didn't, a lot of men died. I got a 45 body built on a 38 frame. Shoot tombstone, ball, and chain. Peace.
We got a lot going on over in eBay. We got Tony's drawings. We got DVDs. We got autographed posters. We got great items from the set. Get on over there. Check out what we're doing for Connor's Cure this month. Remember, every Monday night, 7 p.m., brand new MWF Ultra leading into the December 28th event. Every Tuesday, Tony and I are back at least through 2019. We're testing this out. If the fans want to support us and make it financially feasible for us to produce the shows on a weekly basis, we'll do it.
And I'd like to put this plug in. You know, we talked about our first responders. One thing about fire departments all over the world, when a building is on fire, they're the one to run in while everybody else is running out. They will run into a burning building to save the family pack, no matter if it's a dog, cat, or pancake. They will risk their life for us each and every day. So if you got a local fire department anywhere around your area, pick up a case of water. What it costs you, $2 or $3? Yeah. You get like 24. Just go by there and give it to the farmer. Because when they fight them fires, believe it or not, one of the things that farmers really, really need when they fight these fires is water. So if you could donate this year water to any fire department, don't wait for them to come around asking you guys for donations and stuff. You know, do the right thing.
You know, a lot of firefighters that go begging for water.
Yes, because their main, I run a drive to raise water for firefighters, because when they out there fighting these fires, like when all these fires burn out in the west, one of the things they need to keep themselves hydrated is water. It may not sound like much to us because we can go and get water we don't want, but a lot of these guys and fire departments all the world, if you ask any fireman, you ask them, it's good to donate water to the fire department. So when these guys out fighting these fires and stuff, that they have water to drink. Yeah.
Tony, you're all hot, baby.
Yeah, well, I learned things over the years.
Wrestling fans, if you could, please like, share, and subscribe everything we're doing. Help get the word out. We're trying to do everything we can to give you a great professional wrestling experience for the Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. All the great help we have. Big Walter Hillside, Gabe Monzone, Cecil the Lion, the Puppet, Quincy Rastani, even these parakeets that are in peril that the firefighters are saving. I'm Dan Marotti. We'll see you next week here in Boston Wrestling. You and yours be well. The parakeets.